Well, once again, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Monterey Bay Aquarium Sea Otter exhibit. If you're just joining us, my name is Eric. I'm a naturalist here on staff on the second floor, and you've joined me at the right place at the right time, because in a few moments, we're going to be joined by our amazing animal care team for our first feeding and training session with our southern sea otters on exhibit. In a moment, they're going to be coming through a back door in the rockwork on the back deck up here and asking our otters to perform a variety of different behaviors for them, all related to their care here at the aquarium. We're actually seeing the first one starting up right now. This is what we call stationing, where each of these otters will get into a specific part of the exhibit that they have been trained to get to every time, no matter who they're working with. This allows our trainers to get a good look at each and every otter, ensures that they all get the right amount of food, and makes it easier for me to identify them for you. Starting on the left-hand side, we have Kit. She is our longest otter, and she's now taking a nice swim over to the right side. Now, on the furthest left now is actually Selka. She is our most brunette otter. She has that nice chocolatey brown fur that she's showing off for her trainer right there. Now, in the middle, right from the left, is Ruby. She is our youngest otter at a nice 7 years old and the latest addition to our team here at the aquarium. And on the very far right is Ivy. She is our blondest otter with a nice bright coat going from her face all the way down to her chest and even a little bit towards her tail. Now, I mentioned that these behaviors are all related to their care here at the aquarium, and they can have a variety of different purposes and results. Now, you can see we're having Selka do a little bit of swimming over by the glass there. That's all to make sure we can test her mobility, comfort in the water, and give her plenty of mental and physical stimulus. We also have Kit hauling out onto the back deck there for her trainer. This allows her person to get a very good look at her nice brown fur and test her comfort in and out of the water. These also allow us to use what we call small targets to lead them and make sure they have something to focus on so we can inspect their eyes, their snouts, even their faces, even having them test that flexibility and the strength of their hind legs by standing up for us like you just saw right there. Now, all of these different behaviors go a long way to mentally and physically stimulate our otters here on exhibit, but they also serve a great purpose of forging better bonds with their trainers so that they are comfortable with both them and the tools they use for any further health checkups behind the scenes. We always want to make sure we have the right tools with us whenever we do these feeding and training sessions so that when they have to go behind the scenes for any full checkups, they know exactly who and what they're working with. Now, these all go a long way to make sure that we build those bonds, but these animals don't exactly do it for free. You can see that we are rewarding them with what we call positive reinforcement, giving them some extra tasty treats for doing the correct behavior. We can also circle around to a behavior if they're not in the mood for doing one right now, or even try it again next time. But on the menu today is a nice healthy mix of shrimp, squid, and shelled clam's tongue. Now, these are all invertebrates, or animals without backbones. And a lot of those do come encased in a hard shell, especially out in the wild. Think of sea urchins, clams, abalone. Well, we used to give them those fully shelled animals here on exhibit when we first opened, but we quickly learned that a great tool for breaking into those hard shells for these otters are the glass windows that you're looking through right now. We wanted to preserve the viewing experience for all of you, so we only give them those fully hard-shelled animals behind the scenes, some live crab, abalone, and those clams, but we are more than happy to give them toys filled with those meats so they can still practice that tool-using behavior that they would use in the wild. Now, I mentioned that these animals need to eat quite a lot here. This is just one of 3 training sessions we're going to be doing throughout the day, and that is because these animals have an extremely high metabolism to keep warm in the frigid waters up and down our coast. It's a crispy 50 to 54 degrees year-round, so they have an extremely high metabolism requiring them to eat up to 25% of their body weight every day. To put that into a human perspective, that's like us eating over 20 large pizzas every 24 hours. I cannot handle that eating challenge. I don't know about all of you. But all of that metabolism, all the warmth that is generated there is trapped beneath an extremely dense coat of fur with up to 1 million hairs per square inch. It's the densest in the animal kingdom, and you can see our trainers are getting a very good look at it for Selka up here on the deck. We want to make sure that it is nice and aerated, free of contaminants, so they can be perfectly comfortable in this water that is pumped directly from the bay. Unfortunately, that luscious fur coat was what attracted the fur trade of the 17 and 1800s to these animals along the west coast, and what used to be a population of tens of thousands was gradually reduced to less than 50 by the time the fur trade was banned in the early 1900s. In fact, these animals were thought to be completely extinct until a small raft or group of otters was discovered off the coast of Big Sur in 1914. Conservationists swept into action, establishing things like marine protected areas and advocating for the Marine Mammal Protection Act as well as the Endangered Species Act. These measures have been able to help these populations recover to about 3,000 along our coast. It's still a fragile population, so our otters, in fact, are actually a major contributor to those wild populations and their recovery. You see, we have 5 resident sea otters here at the aquarium, and they've all been deemed non-releasable by the U.S. Department of Fish and Wildlife. We actually rescued all 5 of them through our amazing one-of-a-kind sea otter rescue and care program, and we fully intended to release them back into the wild. However, due to reasons related to their health or behavior, they were deemed non-releasable by the U.S. Department of Fish and Wildlife, like I just said, and have to remain with us for continued human care. But they still get to be enrolled or have been enrolled in that amazing program, this time as surrogate mothers for any further orphaned or injured pups that the aquarium is able to find up and down the coast. They're able to be brought here to the aquarium and paired up with one of our girls on exhibit, brought behind the scenes where they can be taught everything they need to survive and thrive once they are reintroduced into the wild. That is why we want to make sure that they are practicing those natural behaviors like swimming, diving, banging toys up against the glass. It's all to make sure that those skills are sharp so they can pass them on to the next generation. The aquarium has been able to rescue, rehabilitate, and release dozens of pups with this amazing program over its lifetime. And to learn more about it, I highly recommend going to our auditorium right behind us, because at 11:30 and 2 o'clock, we will be showing Luna, a Sea Otter's Story. This is an amazing documentary showcasing what it's like for a young baby otter to go through that program from orphan to rescue to rehabilitated. It is an amazing story. And for any of us tuning in from the live stream at home, we also have recently published an amazing article going over the history of the southern sea otter all the way up to our program and beyond. Now, as our otters are stationed once again, you can even see that they're getting a good look at their bellies, having them spin in the water, all to make sure that they're comfortable in their environment. And our trainers have just released what we call the jackpot. This is a big helping of food, a big thank you for participating in this feeding from our trainers. So as they finish up those nice and tasty morsels, you'll probably see them get into another major behavior that is really essential to teach those pups behind the scenes: grooming. If you see our otters rubbing their face, their belly, or even their tail, that is all to make sure that fur is nice and aerated so it is free of contaminants and can be nice and watertight. It is quite the hair care routine because they have to do this for 3 to 5 hours throughout the day. So definitely get a chance to take a look at that throughout the day because they will be doing it constantly. But our feeding has concluded for right now, folks. Once again, we have other feedings at 1:30 and 3:30, but we'll also have plenty of other enrichment opportunities for these otters throughout the day, so stay tuned. But I'm going to slowly make my way off mic to answer any more burning questions you may have about these animals and just talk about how awesome they are for our local community. Once again, my name is Eric. I'm on the 2nd floor mezzanine, and if you'd like to come on up, I'm always hanging around. Thank you so much for joining me here at the Sea Otter exhibit, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day here at the Monterey Bay Aquarium.